Hi, this is a quick tutorial about how to link HTML pages by clicking on a link. So on my desktop I created a folder called link test, and I'm going to create two HTML files now. I'm going to say file new, file save as, page1.html, and I'm going to create another one, file save as, page2.html. There we go. Now we have two pages, and in my folder I have two pages. I also have an image in there that I put in there that we're going to use just now. So to see that I'm on page 1, I'm going to call this, give it an h1 tag and say page 1. Save that, and I'm going to put the same thing on page 2 and just call it page 2. So to view the page, I'm going to double click that. It'll open in my browser. So I'm looking now at page1.html in the link test folder on my desktop. So that's the address of that file, just for interest sake. Desktop/linktest/page1.html. Now I can't get to page 2. There's nothing to click. I could change the URL at the top. Page 2, now I'm on page 2, but again I can't get back to page 1. If you're a smarty pants, of course you're going to say I can click back. That's not the point of this tutorial. So I'm going to go back to page 1 by changing the URL, and on page 1 I'm going to add an anchor tag. Now the anchor tag could be just that, but that wouldn't do anything. I would need to tell it where do you want to go. So I'm going to put in a hypertext reference. That's the way that you write. Tell it that it's a link or a URL that you want to link to. And in there, I'm going to say I want to go to page2.html. Page2.html. And because my files are in the same folder, I don't have to put folder addresses in front of that, like, page, link, or whatever. I don't have to put that in there. My two files are in the same folder, so I can just use the file name. So I'm going to save that and refresh page 1. Refresh. You don't see anything. If I say view page source, you can see the code is there, but I'm not seeing anything. That is because we need something more. In between the opening and the closing tag, I need to put the display bit. So what will I see on the page? So let's just say something. If I refresh the page now, there we go, there's something. And as I hover my mouse cursor over it, have a look over here. You'll see the link comes up. You see it says there, I'm going to link to page 2. So click, and there I'm on page 2. So I can't link back yet because on page 2 I don't have a hyperlink or an anchor tag. So I'm going to copy this, put this on page 2, and instead of saying something, I'm going to say go back to page 1. So now on page 2, I added some code to it. I'm going to refresh. There we go back to page 1. I made a mistake. I did not change that. So I need to say that I want to link to page 1. Refresh it and click. There we go. We're back on page 1. When you hover over it, you'll see that it is linking to page 2. There I'm on page 2. So now I've just created two hyperlinks that takes me between two pages, and of course I can add more pages. I just want to show you that whatever you put in here will be clickable. So if I put an image in there, so image source equals, and the file name for my image is arrow_right.png. Arrow_right.png. So now when I go back to page 1, it'll be like a page refresh, and I will see my image. There we go. And as I move the cursor over the image, there you go, you'll see that it changes to a clicking icon or a clicking cursor. So when I click that, I go to page 2. Now instead of text in the anchor tag, I've got an image that I can click on. And of course I can style that and give it a height of 30 pixels and make the width auto. Refresh. There we go. Now I've got a nice cute little button to click. Click that and go back to page 1. So that's an idea of how to use the anchor tag to link multiple HTML pages together, and you can build a whole menu by adding multiple items of these, for example, and you can put some non-breaking spaces in between. A non-breaking space just gives you a space on the screen. When I do that, I will now have 3 icons on the page, and of course I can add different images so that I have different icons. And the reason why you would want to do this, of course, is when you have multiple HTML pages that you want to link to, and you can then copy this whole structure onto your other pages, and that'll be kind of like a menu. So on the top one, we're going to go back to page 1. Let's just refresh. There we go to page 2, and when I click that one again, I'll go back to page 1. So you can play around with that. Gives you an idea of how to link pages. Cheers.